Recently, there have been a number of reports of pyramids, huge great pyramids in Antarctica. They jut out of the ice and snow and they look perfect, just like those in Egypt.
Something horrifying was buried under Antarctica's ice for millions of years, and nobody was supposed to see it. Scientists drilling deep into the frozen wasteland uncovered a hidden world. Creatures in total darkness, fossils that rewrite history, and eerie structures that shouldn't exist. This place is not what it seems. Tune in, because what's melting beneath the ice could change the world forever. The ice that shouldn't exist. Under the Antarctic ice, there are hundreds of lakes, about 400 that scientists have found so far, sealed off from the world for what could be millions of years. These lakes exist under miles of solid ice, hidden from sunlight, but somehow they remain liquid. One of the biggest shockers? Lake Vostok, which is about the size of Lake Ontario but buried under more than 2 miles of ice, and within its ancient, untouched waters, something waits, stirring in the dark. How does it stay liquid? The pressure from all that ice keeps it from freezing solid, and some of these lakes might even have their own strange life forms, totally isolated from the rest of the planet. Scientists suspect that more than 1,000 of these lakes could be waiting to be discovered, each hiding who knows what beneath the ice. In the year 1946, Admiral Richard Byrd, an American explorer, claimed to have seen something completely mind-blowing during an Antarctic expedition, a full-blown city made of glowing, crystal-like ice. According to his reports, this mysterious place was home to beings who lived in hidden ice shelters beneath the surface. Of course, skeptics believe Byrd might have been hallucinating from the harsh conditions or the isolation. But here's the weird part. Satellites occasionally pick up strange, structure-like formations in Antarctica. Could there really be something under the ice? Or is it just the landscape playing tricks on our eyes? Recent studies have found that Antarctica's ice is shifting at an alarming rate, and seasons might be to blame. Scientists using satellite data noticed that from December to February, the ice flow speeds up by about 15%. That might not sound like much, but for something as massive as Antarctica, it's a big deal. Scientists used to think ice movement was steady year-round, but now they know it fluctuates more than expected. The real concern? If the ice moves too fast, it could contribute to rising sea levels way sooner than anyone predicted. Deep in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys, there's a waterfall that looks like it's oozing blood. It's called Blood Falls, and it spills from the Taylor Glacier into Lake Bonny. The sight of bright red liquid staining the icy landscape is creepy enough to look straight out of a horror movie. For years, scientists had no clue what was causing it. Some thought it was algae, but there's barely any life in Antarctica. Others guessed it was iron-rich water, and in the year 2017, they confirmed it. Turns out the waterfall comes from an ancient, super salty lake trapped under the ice for millions of years. The water is loaded with iron, and when it finally makes its way out and hits oxygen, it rusts, just like metal left in the rain, creating that terrifying red color. Antarctica is covered in thousands of meteorites, thanks to its dry, cold climate, which perfectly preserves them. One of the most chilling finds? A rock called Allen Hills 84001, discovered in the year 1984. It looked just like Martian soil samples that NASA had collected, and some scientists believed it actually came from Mars itself. How did it get here? Billions of years ago, a massive impact may have blasted a chunk of Mars into space, and after drifting for eons, it finally landed in Antarctica. Even crazier, some researchers think they spotted tiny fossil-like shapes in the rock, possibly signs of ancient Martian microbes. The debate is still raging, but if true, this could be the first real proof of alien life. Most people think of Antarctica as a land of giant predators like orcas and leopard seals, but some of the most disturbing creatures are the tiniest. Scientists discovered a species of translucent fish swimming in Antarctica's freezing waters in the year 2014. The fish is completely see-through, with its organs and even its brain visible from the outside. For years, experts thought nothing could survive in the water beneath thick ice shelves. But this eerie fish proved them wrong. It's adapted to the extreme cold in ways scientists still don't fully understand, and it's just one of many bizarre creatures hiding in the deep. In the year 2018, researchers discovered something unexpected. Antarctica is making noise. The massive Ross ice shelf, which is about the size of France, hums almost constantly. The eerie sounds happen because of the way wind blows across the ice, creating vibrations that are too low for human ears to hear. But when scientists sped up the recordings, they heard something that sounded like a deep, otherworldly instrument. The ice literally sings. Just one more reason Antarctica feels like a place from another planet. If you've ever used a compass, you know it always points north. But in Antarctica, compasses start acting weird as they get closer to the South Pole. The Earth's magnetic fields don't work the same way down there, and in some places, compasses completely lose their ability to point in any direction at all. Most scientists say this is normal, just a result of how magnetism works near the poles. But some people believe something else is at play, something being deliberately hidden. Conspiracy theories claim that strange magnetic fields could be masking hidden underground bases or even secret tunnels beneath the ice. NASA satellites captured images of a 76A, the largest iceberg in the world, drifting into the Drake Passage. This gigantic slab of ice is about 84 miles long and 16 miles wide, bigger than some entire cities. The Drake Passage is known for its powerful currents, and as the iceberg moves into warmer waters, it will eventually break apart and melt. Scientists are keeping a close eye on it, not just because of its sheer size, but also because it's a reminder of how fast Antarctica is changing. In the year 2022, researchers drilling beneath Antarctica's Larsen ice shelf discovered something that shook up everything they knew about life in extreme environments. They drilled more than 500 meters down and found an entire ecosystem of tiny crustaceans thriving in complete darkness. These creatures, called amphipods, were totally unexpected. Even stranger, researchers found phytoplankton, algae that normally need sunlight, living in the depths. This challenges everything scientists thought about where life can survive, and hints that life might exist in similar conditions on frozen planets or moons. As if the frozen expanse of Antarctica had not already thrown enough surprises at the world, what lies beneath its icy waters and beyond its desolate shores adds an entirely new layer to its chilling wonders. Frozen giants and their long-lost kingdom. The colossal squid is a deep-sea giant that almost nobody ever sees. It is like the heavyweight champion of the ocean, lurking over 6,000 feet down where the sun does not reach. Scientists have been trying to catch a real glimpse of this beast for ages, and in the year 2022, a new expedition kicked off. A group of researchers teamed up with a nonprofit and even some polar tourism groups to try and spot one of these elusive creatures in its natural home in Antarctica. They are aiming to make history by the year 2025. This squid is no joke. It can stretch over 40 feet long and weigh as much as a small truck. It has the biggest eyes of any known animal, like as big as a basketball, so it can spot prey in total darkness. And those tentacles, they are armed with rotating hooks that can latch onto anything unlucky enough to be caught. To find one, the expedition is bringing out the big guns, super high-tech cameras and deep-sea lights designed to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep. Scientists are hoping to unlock secrets about its hunting style, its insane eyesight, and how it survives in a place that is basically another planet. A totally different kind of discovery blew scientists away when they dug up some deoxyribonucleic acid from the bottom of the ocean. And not just any deoxyribonucleic acid, the oldest ever found in ocean sediments. It was chilling there in the seafloor of the Scotia Sea, almost 600 feet down. This ancient genetic material was over 4 million years old, smashing the previous record by nearly 1 million years. Nobody knows exactly what creatures left this deoxyribonucleic acid behind, but they were tiny marine organisms from the Middle Pleistocene era. The reason it stayed intact for so long? Antarctica's deep freeze kept it perfectly preserved, locking it in ice for millions of years. Then there is the weird stuff, like unidentified flying objects. Some people think Antarctica is hiding more than just old deoxyribonucleic acid. Satellite images have shown bizarre shapes buried in the snow, and one of the strangest was spotted in the year 2021. It looked like a smooth, clean-cut groove, about 200 feet wide, carved into the ice. There were no signs of anything else around it. No debris, no extra markings, just this perfectly shaped trench. A Russian unidentified flying object researcher believes this could be the crash site of an alien spaceship, now buried under layers of ice. Skeptics, of course, think it is just a natural crack in the ice, called a crevasse. But here's the thing. This particular crevasse is oddly sharp and geometric, way out in a remote area where ice cracks like this are not common. It raises some big questions. And it is not the only mystery. There have been stories of weird lights flashing over the South Pole, and even unconfirmed reports of a saucer-shaped object found back in the 1960s. With Antarctica's ice melting faster than ever, who knows what else might surface? Speaking of strange shapes, what about Antarctica's so-called Great Pyramid? Back in the year 2016, satellite images revealed something crazy, a pyramid-shaped structure poking out from the ice. This thing is over 900 feet tall, making it bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is also in a completely unexpected location, deep in the Ellsworth Mountains, miles and miles away from any ocean access. Scientists argue that this is probably just a naturally shaped mountain formed by erosion. But let us be real. It looks eerily like something built on purpose. Could it be some ancient civilization's lost monument? We do not know, but it sure is interesting. Underneath Antarctica's ice, there is something even crazier, massive tunnels as big as skyscrapers. Scientists using radar technology in the year 2019 discovered an underground river system flowing beneath the continent. These tunnels are so huge, some are over 1,000 feet tall, taller than the Eiffel Tower. Warm ocean currents are carving them out from below, slowly melting Antarctica's ice from underneath. And the wild part? These hidden rivers change directions every year, creating a shifting maze that scientists never knew existed. This discovery has major implications for climate change, as it shows how fast the continent is actually melting. There is also a mind-blowing theory that Polynesian seafarers might have reached Antarctica way before Europeans ever did. History books say the first humans to lay eyes on the frozen continent were Russian explorers in the year 1820. But some scholars believe Maori legends tell a different story. One tale describes a chief named Wita Rangiora, who sailed far south around the year 650, discovering a land filled with ice and giant icebergs. If this is true, it means Polynesian navigators reached Antarctica a whopping 600 years earlier than anyone else. Their incredible sailing skills and star-based navigation might have led them all the way to the edge of the frozen world. Carvings found in Polynesia even seem to depict icy landscapes, adding more weight to the idea. If proven, this would totally rewrite history. Then there is the ancient penguin graveyard. In the year 2016, researchers digging through the ice at Cape Irizar uncovered a massive collection of perfectly preserved penguin remains. These were not just a few old bones. Some of the bodies looked so fresh that it was hard to believe they were over 5,000 years old. Thanks to Antarctica's dry, freezing conditions, these ancient penguins were basically mummified, trapped in time like frozen statues. Scientists figured out that this was a penguin hotspot for thousands of years, with colonies coming and going in waves. The last big population disappeared about 800 years ago, possibly because of a mini ice age. Antarctica has claimed its fair share of human explorers too. The brutal conditions in the 19th and 20th centuries meant that many people who set foot on the icy continent never made it back. It is impossible to know how many have died there, but some estimates say hundreds of bodies are still frozen beneath the ice, lost to time. Unlike other places where bodies decay, Antarctica preserves them almost perfectly, meaning some of these explorers are still resting just as they were when they perished. One of the wildest finds came in the year 2011, when scientists in Chile uncovered a fossilized egg that had been buried for 66 million years. It was a monster of an egg, over 11 inches long, making it the biggest reptile egg ever found in Antarctica. At first, nobody could figure out what kind of creature laid it. After years of study, researchers finally linked it to a mosasaur, a massive sea predator from the dinosaur era. These gigantic lizards ruled the oceans during the Cretaceous period, like ancient sharks on steroids. The thin shell of the egg suggests that mosasaurs may have laid their eggs on land, then quickly guided their hatchlings back into the water to avoid predators. Nearby, scientists even found adult mosasaur skeletons, proving that these beasts once dominated Antarctic waters. Just when it seems like Antarctica has given up all its most unbelievable stories, a deeper look at its uncharted lands and eerie anomalies proves that there is still much more waiting to be uncovered. The ice that sings. Compasses are supposed to always point north, right? That is mostly true until you get too close to the South Pole. The Earth's magnetic field does not behave the same way near the poles as it does in other parts of the world. Instead of nice, neat directions, the field starts going nearly straight up and down, making traditional compasses completely useless. If someone ever found themselves in the middle of Antarctica, they should not expect a trusty compass to help them find their way back. Scientists and explorers already know about this issue, and they come prepared with other navigation tools. But some people think there is more to it than just magnetism. Conspiracy theorists claim that the compass failures are part of a scheme to keep people away from certain areas. What could be hidden out there in the endless white? Maybe a secret military base, or even something not from this world at all. In the year 2017, researchers digging through an old Antarctic expedition hut found something unexpected: a fruitcake. Not just any fruitcake, though. This one had been sitting there for over 100 years, left behind by British explorer Robert Falcon Scott's expedition in the year 1911. Amazingly, despite the brutal conditions, the cake still looked edible. Wrapped in its original paper, the cake had somehow been preserved by the cold, extreme dryness of the Antarctic climate. While nobody was brave enough to take a bite, scientists noted that it still smelled fruity. The texture, however, was more like a brick than a sponge cake. It is now kept safe in a museum, serving as a weird but impressive example of how well Antarctica can preserve things. Maybe there is even older stuff buried in the ice, just waiting to be found. Life in Antarctica is not limited to the occasional penguin or seal. Scientists have discovered a special kind of fungus that thrives in these icy conditions. Normally, fungi grow best in warm, damp environments, but these ones have evolved to survive in Antarctic winters. Some of them even live off the wooden huts left behind by early explorers. Even stranger, another type of fungus down there feeds on petroleum. When explorers abandoned old fuel containers in the snow, these fungi found a new food source. Scientists are now studying these petroleum-eating fungi to see if they could be used to clean up oil spills. If they can break down fuel in Antarctica, who knows what else they could do. Imagine being lost in the frozen wasteland, exhausted, and suddenly feeling like someone is walking right beside you. That is the eerie feeling of an invisible presence many explorers have reported, especially in Antarctica. Many believe these are hallucinations caused by extreme conditions, but some wonder if something else is going on. Ernest Shackleton, one of the most famous Antarctic explorers, and his team swore they felt an extra presence, helping them survive their desperate journey across the ice. They were sure there was a fourth person with them, even though there were only 3 of them. Scientists think these experiences might be hallucinations caused by extreme conditions, but others believe Antarctica is not as empty as it seems. In the year 2017, a gigantic hole about the size of Ireland opened up in Antarctica's Weddell Sea. Called a polynya, these massive gaps in sea ice appear when warm water from deep below rises to the surface and melts the ice. This process keeps going in a cycle, making the hole stay open for a long time. What makes this one so strange is that it was the biggest polynya seen in over 40 years, and scientists are still not entirely sure why it formed. Some think these holes could actually be good for marine life by letting air into the water, but others worry they might mess with the planet's climate. Either way, it is another strange mystery from the frozen south. Antarctica is the last place someone would expect to find a volcano, but Mount Erebus does not care about expectations. This massive active volcano has been erupting for over 1 million years, making it one of the most extreme volcanoes on Earth. It stands over 12,000 feet tall and has been getting more active over the past 3 decades. Reaching Mount Erebus is not easy, but in the year 2013, a team of scientists managed to climb to the top. What they found was even stranger than the volcano itself: tiny creatures living in the heat of its lava tubes. These microorganisms survive in extreme heat and darkness, making scientists wonder if similar life forms could exist on other planets. Buried beneath over a mile of solid ice, the Gamburtsev Mountains stretch for about 700 miles. These hidden peaks are about 10,000 feet tall, but no one has ever actually seen them. Scientists only know they exist because of radar scans and gravitational readings. What is really strange is that the Gamburtsev Mountains are around 1 billion years old, yet they have not eroded away like most old mountain ranges. Some scientists believe they might be protected by a frozen mantle beneath the ice, but no one really knows for sure. It is another one of Antarctica's great mysteries. In the year 2000, Antarctica became the site of its only known violent crime. Australian astrophysicist Rodney Marks, working at a South Pole research station, suddenly fell sick and died within hours. An autopsy later revealed he had been poisoned with methanol, a toxic chemical. But how did it get into his system? There were no signs that Marks had taken it on purpose, and no one at the station could explain how it happened. An investigation was launched, but gathering evidence in the harsh Antarctic conditions was nearly impossible. Years later, the case was closed without any answers, making it one of the coldest crimes mysteries ever recorded. Was Rodney Marks' death an accident, or did someone escape in Antarctica? Share your theories below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling mysteries from around the world.